welcome to Crafting Unedited. My name's Sierra, and today we are going to learn how to weed iron-on, or HTV. So weeding is the process of removing the blank space that you don't need on your project so that the final product looks like this, not a black sheet of vinyl. So I'm going to show you my techniques on weeding big sheets like this. This whole sheet is taken over by the, drawing a blank, by the design that I'm going to use. So it can be pretty annoying trying to weed a sheet this big because it's just so much pulling. But I got a few tips for you. So that's what we're going to do today, is we're going to weed the sheet. So first you need your full sheet of HTV with your design already on it. I don't know if you, there you go. You can kind of see where the design is. And it takes up the whole thing minus this little strip over here. We're going to cut that off. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to flip the camera down so that you can see my mat and what I'm working on. You need this, a weeding tool. I have weeding tweezers. If you don't have these, get them. Seriously, they are the best thing I've ever bought. They've got these crazy tips on them, and it makes it so much easier to weed out those little tiny pieces. And a strong grip mat. I use the strong grip mat as a third hand because sometimes you need three hands. If only that method, went off in normal life, right? If I could just use a mat to have that third hand come true. It doesn't have to be perfect on the mat. You're just going to put it on there like so, right? And you're going to flatten it all out. It doesn't have to be perfect. Just get it on there. It's your third hand, remember? All right, gonna move you down. There we go. You should be able to see that pretty well now. See, now I've got my strong grip mat. There's some space on each side. I'm going to take my rotary cutter and cut off any excessive vinyl. So there's a whole strip right here that I do not need. I'm going to go ahead and cut that off here. Just like that. This is essential because, one, you've got this long strap of scrap paper, this long strip of scrap paper or scrap vinyl that you can use later on. And if you have subscribed, you will see this week a video on how to use up all those scraps. I'm going to do that later this week, most likely. So next, you want to find the bottom, for me it's down here, of your image. The bottom, either left or right corner, it doesn't really matter. Most of the time, how I gauge which side I want to take from, I'm going to kind of look at my image and see which side has the most openings in each little detail. This is a very, very detailed image, so I've got a lot of little pieces you'll see in a second. But I'm going to pull from this side. I'm going to flip it diagonally and just take my weeding tool to the corner of my HTV, and just to start it, then as you're pulling, you want to try to keep your hand as close to the mat as possible. You don't want to do this because then it pulls up the vinyl, the backing off of your third hand there. And if you keep it close to the mat, you'll see that it makes it so much easier to pull all the little spaces out. As I say that, it makes it harder, huh? Isn't that how it works? All right. As you're pulling, this also makes it less likely for you to grab, like right here, there's a section of little tiny pieces. Now, if you just yank it off, all those little tiny pieces are gonna stick to the excess vinyl, not to the mat. See right here? Teeny tiny pieces. If I would have just ripped that off, they would have stuck. All right. And as you can see with the strong grip mat, the backing of this is actually sticking, the backing of the HTV. So I've got a little piece here. You can see that it's kind of being a pain, but that's because there's an inside to this design. And we're just gonna take the corner of that little piece there, pull it up, grab onto it, and keep pulling. You just go all the way along your design, just like that. Double checking, making sure you're not ripping up anything that shouldn't be ripped up. You can leave the little stragglers behind. We'll go back to those. But doing it this method and keeping your hands as close to the mat as possible gives you way less stragglers. Ah, that little guy, get off. This vinyl is very, very staticky, so it becomes like Klingon material. And then, so that your mat doesn't move around, you can take your hand right over. Another method I've used is to clip my mat down with like a binder clip. You clip it to the edge of your counter or table, whatever you're weeding on. And that seems to help keep it down so that it doesn't pull up. Lots of fine details in this one. See, I got another one of those nail polish bottles. This is actually two of the same design. Now you can see where I started to pull up right here. And because I was rushing through it, I now have all this excess stickies. There we go. And the more vinyl you get in your pile, the harder it's going to pull close to your mat. So you just got to keep all that extra vinyl out of the way. Just like that. There we go. Now you can see that we have all these little pieces to get out. That's where this guy and these guys come in handy. I'll post a link to where you can find these. They're from a company called JPI Blanks. That's where I got mine from. Fabulous company, great customer service, great products, and these are probably one of my favorites. So you just go through and find all your little tiny pieces. Look how much easier that is. Look at it. It's crazy, right? Crazy. Rather than taking this thing, going into the corner, or attempting to go into the corner here, and then you gotta take your finger and do that. No, and then it sticks to your fingers. It's just, it's crazy. It's madness. So then, another tip is always stay on the same area that you are weeding. If you step away, always go back to where you left off, because if not, chances are you're going to forget a little space here or there. I've done it. You know, crafter's brain goes ADHD all the time. This is Siser HTV that I'm using here, and it's just the black, but it gets crazy staticky. It, like I said, it becomes like Klingon. And usually I have a little cup or something next to me to put all this in, but I didn't do that today for some reason. I thought I was just gonna, you know, live on the wild side of crafting, huh? No, that's dealing with glitter. Dealing with glitter is living on the wild side of crafting. All right. See how much faster this is? Another method that you can use is weeding out these little pieces first and then taking the big chunk last. I've seen that done. I've tried it. It's not terrible. I don't know. I feel like if I do that, I'm going to end up missing more pieces because you can't see everything that you need to see. And on that note, I'm also going to advise you to have a very bright light around you. I have a very, very bright light above my head, and I have a light pad if needed. That light pad comes in big time helpful for when I'm weeding out white vinyl or glitter vinyl, because that stuff is like it's so difficult. It's almost impossible to see through without using some sort of method to make it more visible. Some people use cornstarch and whatnot. I don't know. I just don't like having extra product on top of my vinyl when I'm weeding it. You know, it gets into those and then it gets onto the clothing or whatever you're making. Today I'm making makeup bags. These are really cute. If you want, I'll post a link to those in the comments as well, or in the description as well. That way you can have those too. They're little makeup bags. They were from Amazon. Super inexpensive, but really, really awesome. I think that I might do a video on how to press those as well because they are thin. They do not have what's it called? The plastic inside. So I don't have to worry about melting that, which is great. All right, almost done here. I'm not going to do the whole thing. I'm not going to make you wait through the whole thing. You get the idea, right? You just go through, same thing with both of these, and I did this one wrong. So I'm going to have to go through and fix that. I was supposed to pull out the whole thing, not those 3 little pieces. See, everybody makes mistakes. Nobody, and I mean nobody, is perfect, especially in the crafting world. Crafting is creative. I'm trying to turn you back up here. Creative is not perfect. Being creative means using your brain in ways that most people can't or won't. They just kind of block out that creativity sensor part of their brain. I'm a little Cricut here. I'm using my phone today. I was too lazy to get the big camera up and going. But yeah, so being creative means not being perfect, and that's totally fine. It's something that I had to learn a few years back while I was, you know, just getting into this crafting craziness. So let loose, have fun. Don't worry about the mess ups and the little things, the little tiny flaws that you're going to see in pretty much every project that you ever do. None will be perfect, and when you have that perfect one, frame it, because it'll never happen again. Anyways, so that, my friends, is how I weed HTV for iron-on projects. See? Klingon. See this? I thought it was a bug. First. So go ahead, subscribe so that you can see how I do things like adhesive vinyl, stencil paper, you know, just everything that you would have to weed has a different method for me. So for me, HTV, you have a bright light for anything really. Weeding tool, weeding tweezers, strong grip mat, start from the very bottom corner, pull up. That's simple. Hit the like button if you liked this video and subscribe to the channel so that you can see the rest of my videos. Remember to use your creative brain and that it's not going to be perfect. We'll see you later.